Hi guys, it's been a while, but I am back with a drawing session today, and in the first half of the video I was planning to give a watercolor coloring tutorial, as much as you can call it a tutorial, because I'm not sure how good will I be explaining my actions, but I'll try my best. It's just hard to explain something that I would call my sixth sense, because I don't have a clear set of rules or techniques that I go by when drawing. But unlike with my other materials, with the watercolor I do have kind of a technique, a methodology of how to draw with it in my own style. So I'm gonna try and show you that, and hopefully if you follow along you can take out some tips and tricks for yourself. And then for the second half of the video, or towards the end, I'll just switch to my favorite materials. Watercolor is actually one of them. I do love it and I fell in love with it recently, but I'll just be drawing whatever and speaking about some relevant random stuff that comes up to my head while recording this. So sit back down, relax, and take out your sketchbook or anything to craft, to work on. You can listen to this as a background noise. So yeah, I guess let's get going. So I'm using this portable watercolor set from De La Rowney, I'm pretty sure. It's really easy to carry around. The only colors that I added here into the palette is cerulean blue, violet, rose, and yellow ochre, because these colors were not in the original palette and you can't really make them in their purest form. Before we start, I'd like to show you my art style so you know what to expect from this video, or what you might gain knowledge in. Now, I'm no teacher, but I can definitely show you my process and you'll be able to see how to follow the steps maybe. So these are examples of my work that might help you understand what to expect, right? This is not a sketchbook tour, but I've basically shown you almost everything I have in here. I'm skipping a page because this paper is a bit different from this one, because that's how I bound my sketchbook. I just chose to do it that way. I wanted more than one type of paper in my sketchbook, so I guess we'll start. I'll show you my reference. So this is the reference that I chose for today's video, or at least a part of it. As you can see, it's got some strong lighting over here and big contrast, right? This is perfect for watercolor and for my technique that I use. So of course, by tradition, we start off with a sketch. There's nothing much I can say about this because it's just me copying down the reference. But here I'm using a mechanical pencil. I've actually started using mechanical pencils again recently because I found this new one I have, which has been buried in my endless box of random pens. It's really handy, although I do prefer thicker lines sometimes, but it really depends on the drawing and the amount of detail you need. Also, for these watercolor studies, you don't need a really detailed sketch. You just need the guidelines. I think this is, well, my sketch, in my opinion, is not really detailed, but it's up to interpretation. Just do whatever feels right for you. You don't have to fully go by my techniques, because we all prefer different methodology. So here I'm just sticking tape down on the borders of the drawing to kind of create a nice, neat frame. You don't have to do this, it really depends on how you feel. And also, if you're doing a border, please don't use generic transparent tape, because it's gonna rip your paper. So instead, use any kind of washi tape or paper tape, because those stick a bit worse and it's easier to peel off when you're done. Since I need to explain stuff based on the picture, I need to kind of prop this down first. Wait. So I guess this could work. It's not ideal, but I guess. Okay, so in my technique, if I can call it my technique, because I'm sure other people use it a lot, I usually start with something that is really defined. So see, for example here, I'm gonna start with this area and work towards her forehead and also block in the hair. I don't need to add any color in this area, because if you do, it's not going to be bright enough. It has to be pure white. So first of all, I'm going to loosen up the sketch. Not too much, but, well, you still have to see your guidelines, I guess, but because watercolor is such a light medium, you don't really want any harsh lines, well, unless your art style is defined by that, or, you know, actually, who cares? I'm not making the rules. You're the one making the rules for yourself. And aren't we all? So I've sped up the coloring process because it's easier to see the application of colors this way. As you may notice, I am mindlessly kind of applying all sorts of colors, just copying down whatever I see on the picture. Yeah, it's easier to work with a reference, but without a reference you can decide on your colors yourself, which could also be easier in my opinion, because you don't have to compare it with your picture all the time, and if it doesn't look right, you can play along with it, whilst with a reference you can't really do that. You have to base off the reference. Although no one's stopping you to do your own thing even with the reference. It's just, at this point, a reference is just a source of inspiration. It's not a picture you have to copy exactly the same. I'm adding the base color first and then putting some water on it to kind of dilute it a bit, and then adding more tones to it, so like greens and reds to the overall yellowish tone of the face in the first place. Now that I think of it, I actually haven't seen that many people use this technique, even on the internet, or maybe I wasn't attentive enough, but it's a bit weird because it's such a versatile technique. Obviously you don't have to use it if you don't like it. You can make up your own, because we have to be unique within our zone of comfort, especially in this day and time when everything has been created before us already and we can't create anything new, and we're forced to be fine with that because there's no other way. You can't really create anything new anymore, since we've gone through so many stages of human development already. Yet even so, I think it's possible to show your uniqueness through anything you do, even if it's gonna be repetitive or somebody else did it before you. There's no shame in repeating something. So back to the drawing. Now I'm painting the background. This is the last step I do, because if you paint the background last, your character is already fully dry and they wouldn't mix with their surroundings. This is why I always paint the background last. So the last thing I do, I go on with these last minute details, kind of adding in some final hair strands and stuff like that. Warning for the most unaesthetic peel of the tape ever. And this is it for the tutorial. I hope that it will help you at least the slightest. Even if the artist's explanations are not the best or the most detailed, I think following the process is also quite a good way to learn. Maybe you'll find some new ways to use watercolor from this video, but moving on. The second half of this video is just a speed paint of me drawing with just a gel pen, raw line art. I'm planning to get very detailed in this piece because I got new gel pens as a gift and I want to try them out as they are without any other additions. Although here, before coming in with the line art, I'm doing my sketch with a gray alcohol marker. Light gray is actually really good to use instead of graphite if you want to practice your wave motion of the line and confidence of your lines. You don't have to worry about messing up the sketch because the line art is gonna cover all the mistakes that you've made in the sketch stage, even if they were with marker and you can't erase them anymore. Also, what I've done recently, I've enrolled into a live drawing session course, so it's 5 classes long. 4 of these are taught classes with a teacher, and the last one is a free untaught class, so it's just for practice. And I thought that this would be a great opportunity for me to improve my skills in drawing figures, especially that I've never drawn people from life before. I've only gone out to draw nature or self-portraits. That's the furthest I've gone. But my main reason was to do a bit of work on figure drawing, because recently I've just been feeling like I'm not as good at drawing bodies as I used to be before. And don't get me wrong, it depends on the day, maybe on the mood, but I've been just drawing a lot and something doesn't look right. Something feels wrong, and I can't really put my finger on what specifically. But I thought maybe my proportions are off, maybe I don't know, the anatomy, well, that's kind of the same thing, but it just looks wrong. I don't like it. And maybe I had a bad day. Maybe I had a few bad days, because just before recording this I was drawing again and it looks fine, but I started the course already. Maybe I can already see the improvement, but my teacher gave me some good advice, which I can't use all of them at home, because in the studio we draw on A2 paper sheets, and that's a huge format. Like, we have to be standing in front of the page at arm's length, whilst at home I draw in my sketchbook or A4 sheets at most. So it's a totally different format, which is more handy, and I can use it, well, pretty much anywhere in the house. But yeah, I do think this course will help me a lot with my figure drawing. Although I know I'm not horrible, but I think this skill in my perception has to do with the amount of stuff that I draw right now. Because I spend most of the time drawing, or at least a good bit of the day, and when you draw this much, or do anything this much, your vision starts to blur, because you just do it so frequently that you lose track of how to do it right. It's hard to explain. Maybe at some point you run out of ideas, but you still got the inspiration in you, and you have no other choice but to use it on hollow ideas, flying heads and stuff like that. And it just makes you think that your art is shit. Like, oh, I have no nice ideas in my head, I can't put anything on paper. Oh, that looks so bad. Oh, my anatomy is all wrong. Like, you just do it too much. You need to stop. That's why I regulate it with other creative stuff, like making necklaces, binding sketchbooks, going outside, and it helps. Oh, actually, binding sketchbooks is a cool one, because technically I don't have to buy sketchbooks anymore to draw, which I'm still gonna do. But if I don't have the possibility, at the moment I can make my own from loose sheets of paper, and it's really easy. In fairness, you just need a tutorial on YouTube, and there's plenty of those. So in my technique I use Coptic binding. It's one of the easiest techniques, I think, and then I decorate the covers with something. So the cool thing about that is that you can make any format that you like, any shape. Well, I'm not sure about the shape. It's still gonna be either a rectangle or a square or a triangle, but not sure if you can make a circle, although you could try. But yeah, it's a really cool skill to have, because you don't have to rely on the market anymore. You can do your own thing, and you can use the paper that you prefer. Because do you know those sketch pads? They are usually cheaper than sketchbooks, because you can rip out the pages or they're loose in there. So you can buy a sketch pad and you can make as many sketchbooks as you like, especially if you get an A4, for example. You can make 2 A5 sketchbooks. So first of all, you get the paper for a cheaper price than if it were a sketchbook, and secondly, you double the sketchbook's amount that you have now, so couldn't be any better. I am truly a strong believer that The best way to save money and also get something unique for yourself is DIY. Guys, if you have the possibility to DIY, which I know that not everyone has the materials, or it's sometimes hard to get, or sometimes just people suck at it, and it's fine, it's okay. But if you do have the chance, and of course the time and patience, you should definitely try that instead of just going to buy the stuff at the shop, especially if you can make it. And of course we can't make everything in the world with our hands. We still have to buy things, even materials, we have to buy them, or we have to upcycle them from old things that were purchased long ago, but they were still purchased, so it still counts. And again, I know some people don't want to waste their time on this. They would rather buy something and get it fast than work on it for a good bit of time, which this is not my way to go, but I don't judge the ones that prefer buying over crafting. But as I was saying, my point is, if you can do it and you can attempt making it with your own hands, just try it. You might surprise yourself. It might become a new hobby, or at the end of the day, you will just have something that is genuinely only unique to yourself. And I think that's so awesome. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking for a little while and just let you enjoy the process. A few days have passed since I decided to return to finishing this video and the second half of the drawing, because when I sat down to record the speed paint for it, I lost a big chunk of the footage. It just didn't record and I never knew, so I never recorded the speed paint for the face. Also, this is the real-time speed at which I draw, if you ever wondered, so I have to speed up the speed paints themselves. I know some people consider this not the most aesthetically pleasing choice for a speed paint because it's fast, and for aesthetic purposes people prefer slower videos. It helps them to calm down better, and I know this for myself. I've experienced this on my own skin, so I know the deal. But if I don't speed up the process at least to 2x, which is the speed I have right now, this video would be 2 hours long, and I can't handle this much footage. I mean, my phone can't handle it. But yeah, moving on. I wanted to talk about this challenge I've seen quite a long while ago on YouTube. It's called One Sketchbook Per Week Challenge, basically, where you take a small format sketchbook. People usually take an art creation square sketchbook, but I think for me it's a bit too thick. So if I were to do this challenge, I would rather take a very thin, like a 20-page sketchbook maybe, so that would sum up to 40 sides of pages, which is a lot for 1 week. But, you know, I really want to do this challenge, at least I want to attempt it, but maybe not now, because I have other projects I need to do, and I have to actually meet a deadline for them, first of all. And secondly, I've talked about this before in the video, the phenomenon where you draw too much and then you dislike your art and it starts to piss you off. Well, that's what happened to me before, just a while ago. So I feel like if I do this challenge, which I'm really curious to try, don't get me wrong, but I feel I'll just become really tired. And I've been tired before just a few months ago, so I don't need to experience this fatigue again. I could do it in the future though, maybe in September. But again, I'm not putting any time limits to this, so please don't expect anything from me. I'm just wondering, I'm thinking. Oh, I'm also happy to announce that I've put up 2 2 clay necklaces for sale on the Etsy shop right now. I made them from scratch from air dry clay, and I would love if somebody buys them. They are currently in a single sample only, since I only have 2 of them at the moment. If you're interested to purchase them, please follow the link in the description to the Etsy shop. It's called Mila Crochet Toys. We share the same shop with my mom currently, but in the future I'm planning to grow my own store and I will upload more stuff on there. I'm planning to sell hand-bound sketchbooks, more different types of necklaces or jewelry in general, also stickers of course, and if any of you want that, I can try and organize prints as well, but I'll see about prints. But yeah, as I was saying, I would be so glad if any of you purchased these necklaces. It would serve as stable ground for me to grow my shop in the future, and on your behalf you would get a unique designed necklace that nobody else in the world would own, and only you, because this is 100% handmade work. In the meantime, I finished the hair and I put up some more guidelines for me, specifically for her suit, because it was just a whole mess, like the thing I've done with marker. We're almost there at the end now. I actually really like this drawing now that I think of it, even though I still think it kind of lacks personality. It's sometimes okay to draw just pretty stuff without much personality. At least it's detailed, but I still like it. These drawings were inspired by Katsuya Terada's art. I love his art so much. It's really detailed, and the way he can capture lines, well, whole complex images without a sketch, just pen, raw pen, like that's what I am striving for in my art. At least I want to be able to do that. Maybe not keep it as my original art style because I like all kinds of mediums, but I want to be able to do that as well. By this I mean using markers or liners to draw without a sketch. Well, I can do that. I can, don't get me wrong, but I need a reference for this usually, and although I haven't used much of a reference for this one, but these poses are simple, so I don't really need a reference. And then I can add the details on as I go. I can freestyle them. But again, there's always space to grow. Although even whenever we think that we reached our limits and skills, we never do, so we always keep growing, even though we don't realize that. We don't notice it by day, but if we look back, it's gonna be visible anyway. But even though we don't notice it happening, we can't really speed it up. We can't speed up the process of improvement because it kind of happens by itself. That's exactly why we don't notice it on a daily basis. But I would say just practice and draw and have fun, most importantly, and you're gonna get there. But don't try to rush it because it's no use. Don't try to speedrun finding your own art style or filling up sketchbooks, because you're just gonna burn yourself out. Speaking of sketchbooks, I'm currently working in like 6 different sketchbooks. I actually kind of stopped caring about where I draw. It's just where I feel like I want to draw at this moment. That's the page I use. That's why I'm filling up my sketchbooks very slowly right now, and I'm leaving for August, so I hope that when I get back I'll have something filled in. And before I finish off for this time, I would like to say that if you enjoyed my art, you can follow me on these socials listed on the screen. I'm most active on Instagram, but I post on TikTok every once in a while, and of course on Pinterest as well. So yeah, I guess see you there. Thank you for tagging along. Take care, spend your time wisely, and be creative. Bye till next time.